weather continues hot in South Florida, and so are the Mets. They arrived in Miami yesterday and poached themselves a ninth-inning victory. And in the shadow of Little Havana, they look for more today. Maybe some more heroics from their second baseman, who was big last night. At Marlins Park in Miami, the New York Mets play the Miami Marlins. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Miami. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez with you tonight as the Mets play the middle game of their series against the Marlins. Mets picked one off last night, 3-1 on Daniel Murphy's 3-run ninth-inning home run. Today, the Mets expand their rotation. This is something they've talked about doing early in the season to get more rest for their starting pitchers, particularly for Matt Harvey.
Well, this is a unique situation. It's not only Matt Harvey. He's obviously the most important one, but it's also Bartolo Colon, who was was 42 years of age. You want to keep those two guys strong. The Mets have their eye on the prize. Down late September, they think they got a chance to be in the playoffs. They got to have those two guys strong and ready for the playoffs. You don't want to have a situation like Washington a couple years ago where they sat down Strasburg.
So the Mets are in a 13-game stretch without an off day, so this is the first time they're going to do this, and they'll do it several times as the year goes along. And the candidate is Rafael Montero. Now, Montero started 8 games with the Mets last year, pitched in the bullpen earlier this season. Now they've got him stretched out, and they think ready to make a start tonight.
Had 2 starts in the minor leagues to stretch him out. He had a great spring. I like his stuff. 24-year-old kid. What's kind of perplexing about Montero, he's supposed to have this wonderful changeup, and he kind of gets happy with his fastball. It's a really, really good pitch. He keeps the ball down. He has good control. A little bit wild at times, but I think it's because he's been kind of thrown from reliever to starter when really he's a starter. So he's going to be the guy. If he pitches well, that is a wonderful insurance policy to have for the Mets going forward.
Last night's win big for the Mets on a lot of different levels. They recovered after losing 2 out of 3 at Yankee Stadium, and it also gives Terry Collins the leeway to rest some guys today as you look at the Geico starting lineup.
Well, I think Kadire, number 1, has been a little bit struggling at the plate. Kadire, one of the older veterans on this team. You want to keep him fresh. Good time to set him down. Remember, this team flew in at 4:30 in the morning after that Yankee game Sunday night on ESPN. So this is a chance now where they snuck that first game in, and boy, what a win for the Mets, that they can get their irregulars in there. Tejada's going to play. It's not a great lineup, but you know something? It takes 25 to win. Sometimes those guys play. They spot play. They have great days.
Let's try and keep it going. They're 5-0 against the Marlins this year, going for 6-0 tonight with Montero on the mound. All the action coming your way on SNY. MBUSA.com. By McDonald's. Try McDonald's new 100% sirloin third-pound burgers starting at $4.99. By Geico, over 75 years of savings and service. And by Hyundai, get in your comfort zone with the most advanced Elantra yet. Visit your Hyundai dealer today. MLB.TV Premium is the #1 live streaming sports service. Watch every out-of-market game live on demand in true HD. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more. Visit MLB.TV for details. Today's game changer brought to you by T-Mobile. Mets beat Steve Cishek last night. He's been a terrific closer for the Marlins against everybody except the Mets. A third of his blown saves in his career have come against the Mets. The fourth one coming last night when Daniel Murphy took him deep in the 9th inning. Mets try and keep the good times rolling against the Marlins tonight. Rafael Montero against David Phelps. First pitch coming up from South Florida. Fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com with the official daily fantasy partner of the New York Mets. Enter promo code NYM for a free entry and claim your share of $300 million this MLB season. Get to Citi Field this Saturday when the Mets take on the Nationals at 7:10. The first 15,000 fans will receive a Jacob deGrom Garden Gnome courtesy of Gold's Horseradish. For tickets, visit Mets.com/Super Saturdays. 28-year-old David Phelps facing the Mets for the second time this season.
Well, his first outing, he didn't get out of the 5th inning. His walks got him in trouble. You see his 7 walks in 12 2/3. He has taken over for Henderson Alvarez, who went on the DL. He started in the bullpen. This is his 3rd start. Former Yankee came over in that trade for Nathan Eovaldi. That also brought Martin Prado to the Marlins. Speaking of defense and Martin Prado, we'll look at the Coors Light Marlin defense. Going with the same outfield, Ozuna with the big misjudged ball last night off the bat of Lagares. Started that 9th inning rally. Probably the best middle infield, I think, in at least the National League East, if not the National League. And Echeverria and Gordon. Take it away, Gary.
All right, Keith. Curtis Granderson will lead off against David Phelps. I just didn't know if you were done. Granderson 0 for 3 last night. Takes a fastball outside, and we're underway in Miami. Granderson at .212 on the year, but a .358 on base percentage, and he's got Prado way in on the grass at third. Haven't seen that a lot against Granderson. And he takes a fastball for a strike, 1-1. 28-year-old David Phelps. There's Henderson Alvarez in the Marlins dugout, whose spot he's taken. Phelps was used as a starter and reliever by the Yankees last year. Over the course of his big league career, 42 major league starts, and in those starts 13-11 with a 4.16 ERA. So he has been a flip of the coin. Juan Lagares on deck, then Lucas Duda for the Mets. And Granderson takes just inside. You can hear Ron Culpa calling the pitches. Very nice microphone pointed at the home plate umpire. Let's hope he keeps it clean.
Curtis on a slow rise of that batting average at .212.
And Curtis thought that ball was low and perhaps outside as well, but Phelps gets the call, and that's how the night begins with a called third strike.
Remember, Gary, they're starting to call. This is a borderline knees pitch. It can go either way. When you got a low ball umpire, the pitcher's going to get that call. They've been calling more low strikes.
Yeah, there's no question about that, and that's been proved empirically by looking at strike calls over the last couple of years that the strike zone has gotten lower and lower. Here's Juan Lagares, who's red hot right now. 8 for 12 over the last 3 games. He's up to .316 on the year. In fact, Lagares now with 25 hits, 7th in the National League in base hits.
Going the other way. You see they're setting up in. Juan has that natural ability in his swing. He's still a little mechanical. He's got a bit of a mechanical swing, but he can go the opposite field. And you see the outfield right there. Look at the center fielder Ozuna way over in the opposite field and deeper. He got burned last night.
Well, he drove that ball to right center and it completely befuddled Ozuna, who took a bad turn. Morse with the over-the-shoulder grab, and that's the second out.
Boy, that had double written all over it. That ball was smoked. Took a bad hop. You know what? When you're red hot, hit the ball hard. You know, there's 8 gloves out there.
Have we not seen more bad hops in the first month of the season than we've seen in years?
We have. Nice play.
Morris does a nice job staying with it, and there are 2 out. Now Lucas Duda, who walked 3 times last night, including in that 9th inning, and he drives one into left center for the first hit of the night. Duda, who's been getting on base 2 or 3 times every day, on base in the opening inning.
Last year, folks, we'd have been waiting till the cows come home to see a first ball fastball hitting. This year, the Mets much more aggressive under the tutelage of Kevin Long.
And how refreshing to see Duda drive the ball the other way. We've seen that more already in this early season than most of last year. So the Mets with a 2-out base runner. Eric Campbell hitting cleanup today with Michael Kadire sitting out. It's only the second game Kadire hasn't started this year. For Campbell, his 13th straight start, taking over for David Wright. David's in Port St. Lucie. Hope to have him back shortly. Due to be eligible to come off the disabled list Thursday, but it won't be quite that soon. Meanwhile, Campbell hitting .237 filling in. And he flies one to right field, and on comes Stanton, and that retires the side. Mets turned aside in the top of the first. Rafael Montero takes the mound when we come back. disappointment as last night when they were held to a run on 6 hits. Great pitching by Dylan G, and Carlos Torres got one big out, and Jeurys Familia closed it. Now the ball goes to Rafael Montero.
Well, Rafael had 4 relief appearances for the Mets, briefly in April. We're still in April. 2 starts down in AAA. And here he is back, and he is going to be the guy the Mets are hopeful that will be the 6th man in the rotation once a month. And had a great spring here. I like his stuff. He's 24 years old. It's kind of tough being thrown back and forth, bullpen to starting.
Ball's behind D. Gordon, 2-0. And that's been the thing with Montero, is that when he has pitched in the big leagues, he's had trouble throwing strikes. Now, once he settled in last year, his last 3 starts of the season, he did extremely well. But his history has been as a strike thrower, and has yet to translate consistently at this level.
Well, he's been kind of an enigma. That he's got this great changeup, but sometimes he just gets fastball happy.
D. Gordon hitting at .395, second in the league, and he pounds one foul. And that specifically, Terry Collins said, is why he started Anthony Recker tonight rather than Kevin Plawecki, who's been in the big leagues for a week. He wanted a veteran back there to coax Montero to use all his pitches.
And I think it was a good time to sit down Plawecki. He'd been struggling a little bit, looked a little confused last night, even though he had the big home run in Yankee Stadium.
2-2 to Gordon, and he comes on the inside corner with the fastball to get him. So Montero starts his night with a called 3rd strike.
Well, this is what I like to see from Montero. He doesn't like to throw inside enough. I don't feel he throws inside enough. And there's a called 3rd strike with two strikes on the hitter. Inside corner. Beautiful. He throws hard, Garrett, and that will set up the changeup.
So 1 out and nobody on now. Martin Prado, who went 1 for 4 and drove in the only Marlins run last night. And Montero gets ahead of him with the fastball. Rafael, 24 years old. Mets didn't sign him until he was 20, which is very rare for a kid from the Dominican. Most of them sign at 16. Slider off the plate, 1-1. Larry Vanover, the crew chief, working at 3rd base tonight. Ron Culpa has the plate. The younger umpires, Knight and Carapazzi, in the middle.
Well, Montero is he's a slight fellow, I guess, a little on the slender side. He's in the book at 6 feet. I don't think he's quite 6 feet, 186 pounds. Lanky kid. Another one of those kids from the Dominican Republic with a rubber arm. He's got a great arm.
Ahead on Prado, 1-2 with Stanton on deck. And it's lifted to center field. Lagares patrolling. 2 out.
All right, quick look at this Met defense brought to you by Lexus. Manu and Heiss with the start in left field. We talked about the late flight. Kadir getting a dead night off. Tejada getting a start at shortstop. Flores sitting down. The rest are the same characters. Campbell doing a wonderful job filling in for David Wright, and Recker getting a start.
So here's Giancarlo Stanton with the bases empty. 1 for 4 last night. Stanton, 5 home runs, 17 driven in, second in the league in RBIs after a slow start. But this is the danger spot in the Marlins batting order. And he pulls one just foul. Campbell was playing right on the line. If that had been fair, he probably would have had it.
Well, got to keep the ball down on Giancarlo. You throw him belt high and up, you okay. You are asking for it.
Tries to hold on the slider, and he went around.
Wow. Who's that? That's Brian Knight. Not to be confused with our Dark Knight
from Gotham. That's the changeup.
Oh boy, I didn't think he swung at all.
1-2 coming. Strike 3 call. Got him looking at a fastball at 93 miles an hour. So Montero strikes out 2 in the opening inning. Marlins are out 1-2-3. No score after 1. Second inning, Daniel Murphy leads off, flies one out to left field. Ichiro Suzuki drifting back. One pitch and one out for David Phelps in the second.
Well, Murph not waiting, much like Duda swinging at the first pitch. Murph, of course, big 3-run blast last night, and then capped it off with a beautiful sparkling play in the field in the bottom half of the ninth.
Now Ruben Tejada getting a start at shortstop today. His 5th start of the year, and only the 4th time in his career that Tejada has hit 6th in the order. That's a little unusual for Ruben to be in that kind of an RBI spot.
You know, it's a funny game. And yeah, Martina. She loves baseball. Quite a player, obviously.
Broken bat off the foot of Phelps. I don't think he ever saw it, but he recovers in time to make the play. The barrel of the bat went toward third, and I don't think Phelps had any idea where that ball was until it hit him.
Another skate save happened last night. Garrett, did it not?
Look at him.
Off his back foot, whatever, his left foot, excuse me. Good recovery.
We saw Kozar kick one last night. This was the back heel, but Phelps was looking the other way.
Jeez, put him behind goal. Oh, in front of goal.
It looked more like a soccer play. You know, the back heel to your teammate for the quick shot. Kirk Nieuwenhuis takes a strike. Nieuwenhuis, just his 3rd start of the year. There's Kozar, who pitched so well last night.
I tell you what, he was impressive. Great breaking ball all night long.
Allowed just 2 hits over 8 scoreless innings, but all that got him was a no decision last night.
A little bit of a look of that ball was low from Nieuwenhuis. There's Dylan. What a job he did.
Happy birthday to Dylan G. 29 today. Nieuwenhuis skies one down the right field line, and Stanton over to get it. That retires the side. Easy 1-2-3 inning for Phelps. He threw just 6 pitches. No score in the second. Downtown, Miami Beach in the distance.
Looking east towards the Atlantic.
Marcell Ozuna leads off the home second against Rafael Montero, who got the side in order with a couple of strikeouts in the first. And he gets the slider over for a strike. Ozuna 0 for 4 last night. Rough night all the way around. Didn't get a hit, and then misjudged that Lagares double that got the Mets started in the ninth.
The Mets have handled him so far this year. The whole team was struggling a little bit, particularly Ozuna. in the homestand. I mean, the Mets when they played them at home. Excuse me.
Marlins came into this series a red-hot team. They had won 5 in a row, including a sweep of the Nationals right before the Mets got here. Boy, the Nats a mess right now,
aren't they?
They've lost 6 straight. They'll be at Citi Field Thursday night to start a 4-game series.
Scherzer's going to miss a start,
but he's going to face Harvey on Friday night is the speculation right now. He's supposed to pitch tonight. He had the bad thumb, but they pushed him back to Friday. So Harvey Scherzer Friday night, that should be a lot of fun.
Mark that in your calendar, folks.
2-2 coming to Ozuna, and it's off the plate 3-2. Did you see the dust up between the Nats and the Braves last night about the Andrelton Simmons slide in the third?
Yes, I did. I saw the slide.
Now the Nats, who plunked Simmons his next time up, contended it was a dirty slide. Did you get to see it?
I'm in disagreement.
Chopper for Tejada. He waits back on it and throws out Ozuna one away.
And I'll explain why. He did slide late. He slid in between the third baseman's legs, which is clean. He did, and he kicked he kicked the glove hand, but he didn't really kick. He just slid into it hard. The third baseman had to leave the game.
Escobar.
Yeah. You got to be prepared. Now, if he'd have slid into his shin or something like that, then yes. But it was a clean slide.
He was clearly trying to knock the ball out of the glove.
Hey, Willie Mays was the best at kicking a ball out of a glove. Willie, I hope you're listening because I remember.
Michael Morse pops one foul. But here's my question, and I don't know how many people got to see it, but if you don't hit the dirt before you go to the bag, is that a questionable slide? Because he clearly did not hit the dirt before he got to the bag.
And it wasn't like spikes high. He didn't go for a forearm or a chunk of a leg. He went right to the glove, and it's fine.
Okay.
They just don't, they used to play the game, and I'm talking not my generation, I'm talking before. As me as a kid growing up, there was good hard-nosed baseball. That was just part of the game. And we've gradually through the generations this game has softened up.
Popped up in foul ground. Duda gives it a look, but that's how to play. I don't know. I had visions when I saw that play of if it had been Ray Knight, he slid into Ray getting up and popping him.
Well, Ray might have. That would have been all right. I mean, it's ridiculous what we're talking about the DH in the National League because Wainwright ran the first base. It's just so silly.
People get hurt. That's part of sports. 1-2 to Morris off the plate, 2-2. Of course, Wainwright's going to miss the season with a torn Achilles after hurting himself leaving the batter's box.
And that is an injury when you're older and in your 30s. It is, I don't care if you're in your 20s, you may never come back and be the same with an Achilles tendon. Look at Ryan Howard.
Right. Full count to Morris. Well, people are counting the Cardinals out because Wainwright got hurt. They lost him at the beginning of 2011 too. You know what they did that year?
Yep.
They won the World Series. So it's a huge blow. He's a tremendous pitcher.
Do they have a Carpenter type pitcher to pick up the slack?
Check swing, and Morris went around, strike 3. Third strikeout for Montero through his first 5 batters.
Michael Walker right now for the Cardinals, and here's the pitch. Well, that's it. See, the fastball in, Garrett tied him up. I like it when this kid throws in. Walker is off to a 3-1 start. Could he be that guy that picks up the slack? We love his stuff. He's pitching tonight.
Well, Carlos Martinez has been wonderful. They put him in the rotation as their 5th starter. They're 12-6. I mean, they're off to a great start. 2 out and nobody on. JT Realmuto 0 for 4 last night. Now the #1 catcher for the Marlins, with them having designated Jared Saltalamacchia for assignment yesterday. Realmuto, the #1 catcher. Jonathan Solano is the backup. They now have the brothers Solano on their bench.
Nice slider.
He's throwing his off-speed stuff a lot, so the message has clearly gotten through.
Well, I like the fact that he's gone inside with 2 strikes. I'm not sure if this is a fastball or the change. It had some sink to it.
2-seamer, 91 miles an hour. 1-2 from Montero. He goes up and away with the fastball. 2-2.
Well, the 2 starts that Montero had down in AAA, the first one was 2 2/3, gave up 2 runs. The last one was 5 innings, gave up 4 runs. So not sparkling.
But no walks.
And he's coming back here off to a hot start.
74 pitches in that last start Thursday. And he'll probably be limited to 90 today, since he just hasn't thrown that many pitches.
And for those of you that missed our just spectacular open to this ball game before the game, this is a 6-man rotation that the Mets are going to have for once a month, specifically for Harvey.
Swing and a miss.
Wow.
Montero coming up and in to get Real Muto. 6 up and 6 down with 4 strikeouts. Terrific start for Montero. No score after 2. With Steve Gelb. Steve?
Well, guys, one of the marquee attractions here at Marlins Park, and there are a lot of them, are the 2 fish tanks behind home plate, 24 feet long, 250 gallons of water each, and there are 12 different types of fish in there. It looks really nice. It's cool to view a different, unique aspect of this park, but it wasn't as simple as, hey, we're just going to throw a couple of fish tanks behind home plate, a couple of barriers that they had to get over when they were building this park. First of all, when you put 12 different types of fish together, you got to make sure they can cohabitate. So there was an outside company making sure that the fish won't eat each other or attack each other. Second of all, the maintenance of this thing, 3 times a week, they have an outside company come in, maintain, check the water, check the fish, as Recker pops out to first right there. They also have 100 square feet of filtration system that's actually in between the Mets dugout and their clubhouse. So there's a nice room back there with all the filtration. But then finally, and most importantly, is you got to make sure that a ball is not going to head back there and break the fish tanks open. So there are 2 layers of glass and then an extra layer on top that was described to me as the stuff that is used in bulletproof glass. And they tested it when they first put it in, had a pitcher throw 90 miles an hour, didn't break, didn't even bend.
Well, you hope you don't get exit velocity of 110.
That dreaded word, exit velocity.
Montero looking for his first big league hit. I mean, the fish are very nice to look at.
Yes.
But if you put a predator in there, it might get more entertaining, be more like the Discovery Channel.
There are fish that devour other fish.
Phelps handles the comebacker and throws out Montero 2 away. I mean, when the action hits a lull, that might provide a little more entertainment.
Are you feeling chipper? I know your birthday's tomorrow. You're awful spry tonight.
I'm trying to stay young.
Good luck.
Thanks. 2 out and nobody on. Now Curtis Granderson. It took a call, 3rd strike. What do you call that fish?
I don't know. It's a leopard something.
A spotted.
What? The fish never changes its spots?
Thought that was a leopard.
I don't believe our director. He said it was a spotted grouper.
He's a king of misinformation.
Well, at least he pronounced it right this time.
Phelps falling behind for the first time. 3-0 on Granderson.
Now, I'm sure that's a living aquarium. Was that what they call them, where there's actual the corals alive or living organisms?
Sure. This really is a fascinating ballpark, and Steve put it right. There are a lot of attractions here. There's a lot of great artwork in the hallways. There's the home run sculpture, of course.
There's the Clevelander.
There's that.
Granderson rips one down the line, and he'll have himself an extra base hit. So Granderson with a 2-out double, the Mets' second hit of the night, and only the 4th extra base hit of the season for Curtis Granderson.
3rd double. 3-1 count, folks. Look at that. They got to come in with that fastball right down the pipe. Lucky he didn't lift it. And one thing about this Miami outfield, it has 3 very, very strong arms out there in Ichiro, Ozuna, and Stanton.
So the Mets already have more hits against Phelps than they had the first time he faced them this year. He only managed 1 hit in 4 2/3 in that game 11 days ago. Lagares takes a fastball for a strike.
Really shading Juan to the opposite field in the outfield, and I agree. Got to take that gap away from him, and Stanton a little bit in. He wants a chance to try to throw out Granderson on a base hit.
Lagares hit a wicked ground ball down to Morris's first time up.
So they're trying to pitch Juan in, but he's got the ability to muscle that ball into the opposite field. He's very strong.
Is there going to come a point in his career when on those inside pitches he learns what he can turn on and hit out of the ballpark?
Well, I certainly hope so, and you should be able to learn as you go the opposite field hits right there, and you can see Juan right there, number 3. Tied for 3. Yes, and the key is when you look in, you don't fly open your front shoulder. Stay closed, and it's not. I don't like to ever call it looking in. It's anticipating in. That's a better term.
So you're not sold out to.
Correct.
Phelps and Real Muto having trouble getting together.
Phelps not happy.
Well, you got a rookie catcher who's only caught a handful of games now in the big leagues. He was up for 11 games late last season, making his 12th start of this year. He made a great defensive play last night on that bunt by Lagares.
Oh my goodness, double play.
Ball that barely got off the ground, and he was able to pop out and pick it out of the air. And that comes inside. Cutter from Phelps, 2-2.
Juan's very serious. He goes about his work very, very diligently. It's really a good group of 25 players.
2-2 coming, and he wastes that fastball away.
Oh, and Lagares had, and I missed it last night, and I got to bring it up right now. He started that rally, and there's the 2-strike hit leaders. Lagares right there. What's that? Because he has the ability to inside out and fight off pitches. But Lagares against a very tough right-handed sidearmer in Cishek had a terrific at bat.
7 pitches before he hit that double. It was a good cut at that fastball.
Now the ball should have been caught. It was misjudged, but it was a bullet to the opposite field. And I talked with, Bruce Keeson is here. He's scouting. I don't know what club he's scouting for. But he mentioned, gosh, he's got some power to the opposite field. Yes, he does.
Got another long turn at bat going here. 7th pitch coming from Phelps to Lagares with Granderson at second and 2 out. And the breaking ball, he tries to hold and he stopped it in time. Brian Knight gives him a pass and it's 3-2.
Breaking ball in the dirt, and this is something that Juan has really improved on. And I was very concerned that they might make him too defensive, but he's improving with each game, showing a better eye at the plate, not fishing as badly as he used to.
Well, you got Duda on deck, so Lagares figures to get something to hit, and he does, but he grounds it right to Gordon, and that retires the side. A 2-out double for Granderson. He's left stranded. Still no score in Miami. But we prefer to also educate. So here we go. Facts about Miami, Florida. It's never been 100 degrees here.
Right.
It was 95 this week, but never 100. Named after the Miami Indian word, which means big water. Makes sense. Sunblock was invented here in 1944. What happened before that?
I don't know.
A lot of
Sunburn.
A lot of sunburn. Yeah.
And
Ichiro Suzuki takes a strike. And Miami Beach is a man-made island. Did you know that?
that would not surprise me.
Like what they've done with the place.
Good fastball in.
Ichiro starting just about every day now with Christian Yelich on the disabled list. There's Jeffrey Loria, the owner of the Marlins, responsible for building this impressive structure and putting together a team that, like the Mets, is on the rise.
Staying inside. And you mentioned, Gary, that Recker got the start. He wanted a veteran catcher, Terry Collins, behind the plate for Montero, and Recker calling aggressively in this game.
2-2 to Ichiro. Ichiro 0 for 3 last night. 2,858 big league hits, 4,136 if you count his work in Japan. Future Hall of Famer. 2-2. Slapped over third, just foul. Vanover had to get out of the way of the ball before making the call. He kept following him.
A little two-step here. Barely foul. Took him a while to collect himself.
Looked like Leslie Nielsen.
Oh, was he terrific in that role? He was terrific. I'm sorry.
Ichiro now 41 years old and still in fantastic shape, can still run. And he slaps that one foul. He brought a style of hitting to the major leagues that nobody here had really ever seen before. But
well,
a lot of the Japanese hitters hit that way.
Yes. Yes. Interesting how I would like to know the origins of the style.
The head start to first base. Breaks his bat as he grounds one for Murphy. And a quick toss in time to get Ichiro. And that's 7 up and 7 down for Montero. So 1 out and nobody on. Now Danny Echeverria, who came into this series a hot hitter. In fact, he was named National League Player of the Week for the week that ended Sunday, but he was held completely in check last night by Dylan G. 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. G only had 3 strikeouts for the night, but 2 of them were against Echeverria. You can't be more efficient than Dylan was last night. He got through the 7th inning with 59 pitches. And he retired the first 2 in the 8th before he gave up 3 straight hits and left having thrown only 70 pitches on the night. And I thought Dylan said something very interesting after the game. He said, I only threw 70 pitches, which is nothing. He said, but I was really tired. He said because there was no break. The game was so fast that every time he finished an inning, he was right back out there on the mound because Cosart was working just as quickly.
Well, maybe that was good to be a little tired because he certainly had a great sinking action on his fastball and changeup.
0-2 to Echeverria. Just off the plate, 1-2. By the way, the game last night played at 1 hour and 58 minutes, and it would have been even shorter if the Mets hadn't rallied in the 9th. It was the shortest 9-inning game by time the Mets had played in 13 years. Going back to 2002, and Sean Estes worked against the Brewers in 1 hour and 53 minutes. Estes that night threw 6 perfect innings. The game last night came on the 32nd anniversary of the fastest game in Mets history, 1 hour and 36-minute affair back in 1973 against the Braves. But sub-2-hour games are almost extinct, even with new speed-up rules. Fastball strike 3 call. Echeverria caught looking, and that's 5 strikeouts now for Montero.
He's painting. He is painting the corners and keeping the ball down. Well done.
So 8 up and 8 down with 5 strikeouts for Montero. 2 out and nobody on. Now David Phelps looking for his first ever big league hit. 0 for 4 this year, 0 for 10 in his career. Well, this is the way Montero pitched the last few starts last year. His last 3 starts, he was 1-0 with an ERA of 1 after struggling after his recall. Right at Granderson, and it's 3 perfect innings in the book for Rafael Montero. 9 up, 9 down, 5 strikeouts after 3, no score.
dancing.
Well, you got the performance art to go with the Cuban. Very nice.
It's like Benihana.
That's exactly right. Very impressive. Pile on that ham, baby.
Oh, that's, let me see, that's 1,000 calories.
Got the pickles. Very nice.
Uh-oh. Here come the cheese. Queso. Oh, there you go. Flatten it.
This is great. We can watch this all night. Does he know he's on TV?
I'm sure he does.
We've got a clock on him to see how long it takes him to produce the sandwich. 20 seconds from initiation to press. Very nice.
Make Henry Ford very happy.
The one-man assembly line. Lucas Duda leads off and takes a strike from David Phelps. Duda jumped on the first pitch he saw and drilled a base hit to left center his first time up. The Marlins, as they have with Duda every time he's come up, flipped their defenders after the first strike, and he takes inside. They start out with the third baseman Prado on the left side just in case Duda bunts. And then after the first pitch, Prado and Echeverria switch places.
I think more after the first strike,
right,
isn't it?
Right after the first strike. 2-1 now to Lucas with Campbell and Murphy to follow.
Little bat. Attention to the bat. That's your make your living with that bat. Putting some tape on Ruben. They're pitching Lucas inside. Getting much more change-ups now from the right-handers in particular. Yet to go on a home run tear yet, right? Yeah,
only two.
Yep. Waiting for him to get into one of those streaks.
Got him with the off-speed pitch. Second strikeout of the night for Phelps. The road ahead presented by Buick. One more game here tomorrow night, then 4 with the Nationals starting on Thursday night, and then the Mets have 2 off days next week, Monday and Thursday. The Orioles come in for 2 in between before the Mets go to Philly and Chicago. Of course, the Orioles are in an odd spot right now, necessitated by the unrest in Baltimore. They had to postpone their games last night and tonight. They're going to play the White Sox at Camden Yards tomorrow afternoon with no fans. No public will be allowed. They'll have TV and they'll let the press in, but I think that's unprecedented in Major League history to hold a game with no fans.
I would think so.
It's been done in soccer because of, various situations of unrest. It's been done in high school basketball at times, but never in Major League Baseball. And then the series schedule for Baltimore this weekend, they're going to move to Tampa Bay. The Orioles will be the home team, but they'll play the games at Tropicana Field. So that's what will precede the Orioles trip to New York. Campbell tries to hold, and he did not go around. As for the Mets, they've got those 2 off days next week, and they're going to a 6th man in their rotation this week to get everybody an extra day of rest. But next week, they've got the opposite problem with 2 off days, and they might skip a starter and go to 4 men. So the machinations continue. Here's a strike, 3-2. Because it's one thing to get your pitchers an extra day of rest,
right?
But if they have 2 extra days of rest, now you're really knocking them off kilter.
And one of them's going to get knocked off kilter that misses. That's going to be the odd man out.
Right.
And I'm not sure who it's going to be.
Echeverria with a good backhand stop. The quick throw is on target. Boy, he's good. Echeverria got rid of that ball so quickly.
Watch this. Plant and throw. Off balance. Look at the strength of the arm. That is a major league play. That is. Watch his reaction to the ball. Stretching for the backhand and just throwing off balance. Powerful arm. Major league play. Now make your pitcher happy. And they're just raving about this infield defense. This is a club that's only made 5 errors this year.
Well, Echeverria is not quite Andrelton Simmons, but he is awfully good. Changeup from Phelps misses, a ball and a strike. Murphy flied to left his first time up. Gordon is a former shortstop who has much improved his defense, is moving to second base. Remember, the Dodgers first brought him up to play short, and he was inconsistent, but really blossomed last year as a full-time second baseman. 2-1 coming to Murphy, and Phelps falls behind 3-1 with Tejada waiting on deck.
Nice count for Murph. Moved closer to the plate. Came out in the paper and stated that.
Drills one into right field for a base hit. Stanton over quickly, cuts it off, and holds Murphy to a 2-out single.
Well, I'll tell you what. You think Stanton, because he's a big guy. Look at Murph right here. 3-1. Don't waste any time. Fastball right down Broadway. On it. I'd like to see Murph use left center field a little more, like we did when he first came up. He should own left center field.
Well, things starting to come around for Murphy at the plate. The last 3 games, 4 for 9 now, with a couple of doubles and a home run. Oddly enough, Murphy, who came into the day hitting 174, leads the Mets in RBIs. He had 3 last night. He had 2 the night before at Yankee Stadium.
14 on the year.
Tejada fouls back the fastball. I believe we shortchanged the Marlins Park fish tanks earlier. We said they had 250-gallon tanks. It's actually 450-gallon tanks. We didn't want the fish to feel too squeezed. Tejada flies one out to right, and Stanton puts it away to retire the side. No, he dropped the ball, and Murphy goes to third. Well, Stanton, normally so good out in right field, and he just flat dropped it.
Did he lottie-dot it? I think he lottie-dot it. Routine. See, 2 hands, folks. Oof. All you kids. Never take anything for granted. Took his eye off the ball, and I guarantee you he is embarrassed.
Well, the Mets have made quite a living off other teams' mistakes early this season. That was certainly the case last night after Ozuna misplayed a ball and they fashioned a winning rally. See if they can catch this one in as well.
And I really can't blame Murph here. Even, you know, he's kind of 3/4ing it around the bases. It's a routine fly ball.
Neuenhuis takes a curveball strike. Kirk just 1 for 16 to start his year, but he's got a chance here with 1st and 3rd and 2 out to get the Mets on the board first. Just the 6th error of the year committed by the Marlins right after we were praising their defense. Neuenhuis drives one out to left center, but Ozuna has plenty of room. And that retires a side. This time for sure. Phelps works around the error, still no score.
I'm going to have to kind of have influence over during the game. I'm sure he's going to do his homework and he's going to know the hitters, but I've seen these guys a lot over the last couple of years, so I have a pretty good idea what we can do and what'll be successful against them. So, we'll follow a game plan, we'll work together, but I definitely feel some responsibility that whatever happens today is kind of on my shoulders, but that's kind of every day.
Anthony Recker catching Rafael Montero's first start of the season, and so far so good.
Anthony's always such a good interview, bright guy, well spoken.
Take our jobs one of these days.
Well, I'll be ready for the last roundup by then.
Second time through the order for Montero. Gordon drives one to left center over toward the gap, and that's down for a base hit. Nieuwenhuis gets to it on the warning track, and Gordon, the first base runner of the night for the Marlins, a leadoff double.
Well, we finally found someone that hit one where normally extra base hits go to die, Garrett. And this one just keeps fading away from Juan. And Gordon can fly. And he is red hot. 2 hits last night. He's electrifying.
That's his 35th hit of the season. That leads the National League. 35 hits in April. It's pretty good,
I'll say.
Now here's Martin Prado with a runner at second and nobody out. And Tejada playing right behind Gordon to keep him from getting any ideas about stealing third. Recker blocks the slider in the dirt, 1-0.
Well, you've got really the ideal 2-hitter, one of the best guys in the 2-hole in Prado, the veteran. Goes the other way. He'll be trying to advance the runner, if drive him in, but at the least advance him.
Prado 7 for 17 with runners in scoring position. The Marlins as a team hitting .285 with runners in scoring position, a big number. But he's not going to advance him with that. Tejada throws out Prado for the first out.
Wow. Fastball in, Gary. It's the most I've seen Montero throw in.
So an unproductive out for Prado, is really angry with himself as he heads off.
Oh.
And now Stanton, who took a call third strike his first time up.
A called third strike fastball knee high outside corner. Gary.
Mets shift their infield defense to the left against Stanton.
They got to keep Gordon close. He's a base stealing threat.
Murphy hanging around near the bag. And as that pitch was thrown, Murph was on the bag.
I think they wanted a pickoff there. Who knows?
Murph's coming in to talk to Montero now. A little miscommunication there. Coming to Stanton.
Hits it hard, but right at Campbell, who picks it out of the air for the second out. A bullet.
And Campbell able to snag it ankle high. 2 out. We talked about Campbell playing the line against Stanton the last at bat.
Hot corner. Very deep. Stanton's not going to be bunting. He's got to be one of those guys that you're fearful to be playing in at third base, much like Willie McCovey for a first baseman or Willie Stargell in my day.
So after the leadoff double, now 2 out, and Gordon still at second. And here's Marcell Ozuna, who grounded out to short his first time up. He's by far the hardest hit ball against Montero tonight. But he gets away with one against Stanton and now tries to get through the inning unscathed. Gordon at second with 2 out. He'll score on just about any base hit to the outfield. And Recker letting the infield know what they do if Gordon takes off for third. Do you let him go with 2 out if he wants to steal third?
I if he wants to steal third, let him go. To me, you want to play defense. You want to keep the ball on the infield. You don't want to get out of position where you lose coverage defensively.
Slider misses. 2-0 to Ozuna. Morse would be next. Well, there you see the numbers, and pretty good for his career, but last year was caught stealing 19 times. This year been caught stealing 6 and only has 8 steals, so his rate is not great.
Hit hard. Another one for Campbell. He takes the tough hop and throws out Ozuna. Boy, that was a tough play. Campbell stayed with it nicely. That ball came up on the backhand. Like a highlight player. Manipulating his cesta. And that gets Montero through the 4th with no score. Last night it was G and Cozart. Tonight Montero and Phelps. No score as we start the 5th. Anthony Recker leads off.
Recker looking for his first hit of the year. 4th start. Has 4 walks. 0 for 8 on the season.
Popped up his first time up. And he drills one to left field, but right at Ichiro for the first out. So Recker hit it right on the button. 1 pitch and 1 out. And now Montero will look for his first big league hit after hitting a comebacker his first time up. He's 0 for 12 in his career. Well, we mentioned that the Nats are coming to Citi Field and that Max Scherzer and Matt Harvey are going to hook up Friday night because Scherzer had his start pushed back. It was supposed to be tonight, but they called up A.J. Cole to take the start for the Nats. Gave up 9 runs in the first 2 innings.
They are 8 games behind the Mets, and to me, the only real contender in the East. They're the team that has a chance more than anybody to hang around. The team that the Mets need to put as far back in that rearview mirror as possible. A win tonight, which you never know what's going to happen in that game. They're down 9 runs. If they lose, you can put them 9 back. I know it's a long way to go, Gare, but hot starts are hot starts. And if you can get the Nationals back in double digits as far back as possible, and that's a long climb back.
Well, you don't win pennants in April, but you can certainly make yourself more comfortable if you hit a cold spell at some point during the summer.
Well, I remember '82 in the Western Division of the National League. The Braves wound up winning that division. And we beat them the strike 3 right there to Montero. We beat them with St. Louis in '82. We swept the Braves. Braves had the great April.
They were 13-0 to start the year.
And the Dodgers with Valenzuela made a late run and just fell short. I believe the last week of the season.
Yep, last weekend, sure.
And we as a team, St. Louis, collectively were saying we wanted the Braves to hang on.
Well, that worked out for you.
It did.
Beat the Braves in the LCS. Beat the Brewers in the World Series.
Yes.
You got a ring.
Yes, I did. My first.
Curtis Granderson drilled a double his last time up. Third time around the batting order now for Phelps. Phelps pitched 7 scoreless innings in his last start in Philadelphia. Allowed just 3 hits. And he's kept the Mets off the board tonight. 2-1 to Granderson. Well, it's time for our SNY tweet of the game. What are your thoughts about the Mets occasionally using a 6-man rotation? Hashtag SNY tweet. Let us know what you think.
I'm sure we got a lot of Casey Stingles out there.
Yeah, 6-man rotation's a little bit of a misnomer. It's basically a spot start just to give some extra rest. Granderson lifts one to left. Easy for Ichiro. And that retires the side. 1-2-3 inning for David Phelps. We're halfway through in Miami. Mets and Marlins again, no score. Get a complete draft breakdown with exclusive interviews and reports from Florham Park as the future of the Jets is revealed. Jets Nation Draft Day 2015. Coverage begins Thursday at 5 only on SNY. That's 5 p.m. by the way. I know the draft's big, but 5 a.m. would be pushing it.
Yes. And they are in Vegas.
So that would be like 2 a.m. Michael Morris leads off in the home fifth and bangs one down to Campbell, who gives some ground. The long throw on a hop, and Duda can't scoop it, and Morris is safe. It goes into the photo well, and Morris will go to second. Well, Campbell backed up on it, and the one hopper couldn't be handled. It's an error on Campbell.
Well, he plays it back for the long hop. Morris doesn't run well. Just did not have enough momentum, the footwork, to get the strength of the throw. And forgive me, the draft's in Chicago. I stand corrected.
Well, it's an hour difference instead of 3. In any event, your point is well taken. 5 o'clock is adequate for starting draft coverage. Third error for Campbell. Puts a runner in scoring position with nobody out. JT Realmuto, the batter, struck out his first time up. And he flies one out to center. Lagares gets there. Morse tagging, but he's not going anywhere against Lagares' arm.
He's got to try that, doesn't he? I don't care what kind of a truck horse he is. That ball was deep.
So one big out for Montero. So for the second straight inning, the Marlins get their leadoff man on second and do not advance him. So here's Ichiro with Morse at second and 1 out. Ichiro grounded out to second base his first time up. Montero at 57 pitches. He's allowed just 1 hit. He hasn't walked anybody. Slap behind third, and that'll go foul. Keep in mind that Montero, having just made the 2 minor league starts, is going to be capped at around 90 pitches today.
Where's he at now, Gary?
58.
Throwing well.
See that little score box in the upper left-hand corner?
Oh,
where it says pitch 58.
Oh, on the TV. I thought you were looking at it.
Where else?
Come on, be specific.
The score box in the upper left-hand corner. You may not realize this, Keith, but this entire game is on TV.
I thought you were pointing somewhere in the ballpark. I never look at what are those things called anyway?
The bug.
Bugs, right? I have a thing about bugs. I never look at that. So it's the 59th pitch.
Like arachnophobia? Yeah. Those are spiders. It's different. 0-2 to Ichiro. He golfs that one foul. Let's look at our 5th inning recap, which is in a big box. Brought to you by JetBlue. Montero and Phelps matching zeros, much the way G and Cosart did last night. No walks for either pitcher.
Looks like a lot of goose eggs up there for me. To me.
Or bug eggs.
That's brought to you by JetBlue, correct?
Yes, indeed. Just like Rafael Montero's glove. More royal blue. Oh, and 2 to Ichiro. Echeverria on deck. Slap to third. Campbell gets in front of this one. And this time the throw is true and just in time to get Ichiro Suzuki.
That is going to be, I believe that's going to be questioned. Challenged is the word.
Well, Campbell might have misjudged just how fast Ichiro Suzuki runs at age 41. He's gotten a lot of infield hits on routine grounders in his career.
Think
and he might get another one. Let's see.
Got him. Out.
And Mike Redmond is not going to challenge.
Very impressive that Montero, these last 2 innings, leadoff runner on second base, and he's got out of the one, and now he's in a situation here where he can get out of another one.
They're going to walk Echeverria intentionally. Got Phelps on deck, who does not have a hit in his major league career. And so rather than take a chance with Echeverria, who's coming off a big week, Montero will issue the intentional pass, his first walk of the night.
And this is normally, I do not like walking an 8-hitter with 2 outs to get to the pitcher, but in this case it is appropriate. This is a 0-0 ball game. 1 run could win it.
Now when they cap him at 90 pitches, will they count these 4?
That's a good point, Gare. I don't think they should.
No, I don't think they should either. He's throwing 65 miles an hour.
I did not think of that. You always.
I mean, if you were going to count those, why wouldn't you count throws to first? Right?
That's true. Gare, that your brain is always working.
For now.
Is it that way when you sleep?
I sleep very well, thank you. Morris at second, Echeverria at first, and 2 out. Now it's Phelps, who lined out to Granderson in right field his first time up. 0 for 11 in his major league career. And Montero powers one by him, 0-1.
This kid's got a nice fastball. got a nice delivery too. He's got a nice fluid motion.
Not a big guy, just 6 feet tall, 185. Kind of Pedro-esque in his physique. Of course, every kid growing up in the Dominican wanted to model himself after Pedro Martinez. Why not?
Hall of Famer, for sure.
Slider in for a strike. 0-2. He's got Pedro's physique and Sid Fernandez's number.
51. You're right.
50.
That's right.
To the 50th state.
Thought I saw this. I'm going blind.
Here's the 0-2 to Phelps. And that's off the corner. 1-2.
Sid filled it out a little, couple sizes bigger.
Yeah. Might have had to wear a slightly larger shirt.
Had a slightly larger, slow curveball too, didn't he?
2 on and 2 out. 1-2 coming to Phelps, and he goes down swinging, and Montero gets himself through the 5th. Still no score. Hit to center field. Lagares started back, now racing in, diving, and he did make the catch. Left center, back goes Lagares, another great catch. Oh, he's just too good. And Juan Lagares has been hitting as well, and he comes to the plate to lead off for the Mets in the 6th inning of a scoreless game.
0 for 2 tonight. Hit the ball hard both times. First grounder to first, a hot smash to Morse. He made a nice play, and then a hot shot on the ground right to D. Gordon at second. So he's had 2 good at bats, nothing to show for it.
Lagares, Duda, and Campbell against David Phelps. Let's see, Phelps has now worked 9 2/3 innings against the Mets this year, and he's given up 1 run and 4 hits.
Well, the start last year with the Yankees, he got 1/3 of an inning and got shellacked.
Yes, he did. Well, they're counting on Phelps to fill a rotation spot with Henderson Alvarez on the sidelines, and so far so good. Pitched a gem against the Phillies his last time out. He's been terrific again tonight. And he gets the curveball over to Lagares. 1-1. Broken bat down the line and foul.
Juan very strong. They are pitching him in And there's a if it's a strike, this is the ball he pulls. Look at him come in to get it, and he will learn to do that more as he becomes more experienced. Still as bad as Shatter, Gary, and strong enough to get it out in the outfield. If it had been fair, it's a leadoff base hit.
Well, he's a strong kid.
No question.
If you're up close to him, you can see he is very heavily muscled.
Top to bottom.
Phelps ahead of him 1-2. And he comes inside 2-2. Marlins have been getting better and better starting pitching lately. Their first 14 games, their starter's ERA was 5.3. That's a hard way to win. Echeverria, another backhand play and another perfect throw for the first down. Let's check in with the studio for a game break with Eamon McEnany, brought to you by Honda. Kelly Johnson having a pretty good couple of days. A homer and 3 RBIs last night in the Braves win. And helping the Braves to a big lead again today.
But Gio Gonzalez hasn't been very good at all.
Gio wasn't good. Pfister last night wasn't good. I mean, their starting pitching, you figure, is the one given. But not so far. Duda takes a strike with a changeup, and it's 1-1. The Mets will see Strasburg on Thursday night against Jacob deGrom. And then they'll see Scherzer, if his thumb is okay, Friday night against Matt Harvey. So 2 marquee matchups to start that series. 2-1 to Duda. And I would think, regardless of what happens the next couple of days, the Nats have to come into that series, I don't want to say with desperation, but certainly with urgency.
Yes.
Even though it's only late April.
And they're going against the 2 big guns, deGrom and Harvey, game 1 and 2.
Duda grounds one into the shift. Easy for Prado. That's a 5-3 putout on your scorecard for the second out. But first, there's the matter of the finale here in Miami. Your city probables for tomorrow. Bartolo Colon tries to make it 5 wins in 5 starts. Look at the walk strikeout ratio.
Well, how about Harvey's walk strikeout ratio?
And Matt Latos still looking for his first win, although he pitched better his last time out. Will go for Miami. The Marlins' last 6 games, the starter's ERA is 1.13. So they have really picked it up. Campbell takes the curveball down. Campbell hitting cleanup today. He hit cleanup 13 times last year. I didn't realize until I looked that up that he had batted cleanup that often.
He's really not a cleanup hitter. He's a line drive hitter that uses both gaps. Tough strikeout.
Dyer getting the day off, and so Campbell hitting in that 4th spot.
He's the only one that's kind of a leftover of the philosophy last year of taking pitches. He takes a lot of 2-0. Dyer there getting a rest. He takes a lot of 2-0, 3-1 fastballs. Campbell.
0 for 2 today, and he lines one into right center for a base hit. So Eric Campbell has the Mets' 4th hit of the night. All 4 have come with 2 out and nobody on. So Phelps has done a great job of getting those first couple of hitters out.
This is how you hit a ball away and up. Outer half, beautiful. That's what he does well. That's a strength.
So Campbell aboard with 2 out. Daniel Murphy 1 for 2, single to right his last time up. Campbell will swipe the occasional base, so Phelps keeps an eye on him.
Murph had a base hit down the right field line that Stanton was able to cut off and prevent him from getting another double.
Murphy 2 doubles Sunday night, 3-run homer last night. Hard hit base hit last time up, and he drives this one into right field for a base hit. So Murph really starting to come around these last few days since he tweaked things a little bit. Back-to-back 2-out hits, put 2 men aboard.
I think it's a changeup. Off the end of the bat, Murph stays in. You're not going to try to take third base with the arm of Stanton. Against the arm of Stanton.
So now Tejada will try and get the initial run home. Ruben hit a comebacker off Phelps' foot and was retired in the second. Then hit a routine fly ball to right that Stanton dropped for an error with 2 out in the 4th. Phelps was able to work around that. And now trying to work around 2-out trouble as Met fans in the house start to make some noise.
A little bit of stirring in the bullpen.
Phelps at 79 pitches for the night. No score, 6th inning, and Ruben takes it high for ball 1.
That's a good take right there from Ruben. He can chase that high one. And he likes to, he overswings, and you can kind of go up the ladder. Now he's 1-0, not 0-1.
And he takes a slider for a strike, 1-1.
Okay.
So the Met fans on hand.
You better come through.
That was an evil looking Mr. Met.
I was going to say, she might come down and give him a whooping.
Kirk Neuenhuis would be next. Campbell at second, Murphy at first, and 2 out. And Tejada foul tips that cutter, and it's 1-2.
Little cutter pulled off. Even Mr. Met looks angry, doesn't he? Mr. Met usually is very affable.
Let him loose on that aquarium.
Outfield playing Ruben to the opposite field. Don't want to throw an off-speed pitch where he can pull the barrel out and go right down that left field line. A lot of open territory.
Too high. Phelps dialing it up to 93, and it's 2-2. Neuenhuis would be next. Two on, 2 out, 2-2 to Tejada. And he foul tips 1, strike 3. Phelps pumps a fist. He's got his 4th strikeout, and the Mets strand a pair in the top of the 6th. Still no score. The newcomers who has put together a terrific April for their new squad. Nelson Cruz, 9 home runs in Seattle. Ike Davis off to a fast start with the A's.
Well, Nelson, how about Nelson Cruz?
Hanley Ramirez loving his return to Boston. 8 home runs already for Hanley in his new position, playing the wall.
Nelson Cruz in Seattle, 9 home runs, 21 RBIs, hitting .300.
Gordon doubled to left center. He had the first hit, and thus far the only hit against Montero in the 4th inning. And tries to drop down a bunt, but fouls it off. 0-2. Matt Kemp and Justin Upton fortifying a San Diego lineup.
We've seen Markakis.
Now the leadoff hitter for the Braves, and Freddie Gonzalez is going to leave him in that leadoff spot for a while.
He was red hot, swinging a really, really good bat. Line drive hitter. Seeing more and more of that, Gare.
Well,
getting away from that big Bash Brothers stuff.
If you live and die by the home run, you can do a lot more dying. Unless you have a guy like that. Not too many legit 30 home run guys anymore. Montero ahead on Gordon, 0-2. And he laces one into right center for another base hit. Boy, you just can't get him out right now. Bobbled by Granderson, and Gordon will take second.
Nice hustle.
Well, it should have been a routine single, but Granderson just couldn't corral it.
Well, took the in-between hop. Probably would have been better to come get it at a short hop. And that's going to be an E9. I got to believe that's a single on air here. Hustling all the way, Gordon. And watch him turn the jets on here. What a beautiful gate. Gosh.
So Granderson's error, the second error in the last 2 innings for the Mets. 3rd straight inning that the Marlins have had a runner at second with nobody out. Last time Prado couldn't advance Gordon. Let's see what they do this time.
I would bunt here. I might give Prado 1 strike because he's a veteran.
Prado grounded out to short the last time with Gordon at second. This time he is bunting and pushes it nicely. Montero makes the play. Sacrifice for Prado. Moves Gordon over to third. 1-3 on the sack.
Well, Prado could have given him one strike and then put the bunt on if he didn't get him over, but this is a game that's maybe decided by a run.
So now do you walk Stanton and set up the double play, or do you play the infield in and try and get him out?
I would pitch to Stanton, and I'll tell you why, Gare. This is the team that leads the National League in strikeouts. Stanton has 26 strikeouts. He's a guy that you can pitch to and strike him out. I would definitely go after him.
He struck out looking in the 1st inning tonight, then hit a bullet to Campbell that was caught in the 4th. Infield up. And the first pitch slider off the plate, ball 1.
Everybody in on the infield. Look at the corners, though, are playing a little bit back. Particularly look at the third baseman, Campbell, with the big slugger up.
Two and 0.
I'll tell you what, Montero showing some poise here. Not going to make a mistake over the middle. Missed away barely. Good. Stanton showing a good eye.
Well, if you fall behind 3-0, you probably just put him on.
Going back in.
So let's see if they give him intentional ball 4 here. Recker looks in the dugout, and they're going to keep going after him. Stanton has not swung at a 3-0 pitch yet this season, and now Recker rises, and it looks like they're going to change their mind. Nope, apparently not.
Well, it's not going to be nothing in, but he can crush you away.
And he stays inside.
Yep, crowd him.
And he swings 3-0. First time all year he swung at a 3-0 pitch.
See what happens when you keep the ball on Stanton down. He's a little bit of a sweeper on the low pitch.
Bob Guerin, Mets bench coach, talking to Kevin Long, the hitting coach. Gordon at 3rd and 1 out. Scoreless game in the 6th. 3-1 to Stanton. And the slider in for a strike. 3-2.
Good pitch. 3-1.
Come back inside now, 3-2.
Gary, I'm just glad I never was a catcher my whole career. I just, these are important parts of the game. Fastball away. They're going to try to sneak one by him outside.
They got him looking that way in the first inning.
And he hits one through the hole, and the Marlins grab the lead. Gordon comes in to score the first run of the game. Giancarlo Stanton with his 18th RBI, and it's 1-0 Miami.
First mistake of that at bat, and he got hurt. First pitch, slider, just missed. Fastball in, just missed. 2-0. Looked like a changeup. 3-0. Swinging fastball, good sinker down and in. Slider, perfect. Now here comes the mistake, right down the pipe, up.
Trying to get it away, didn't get it there. And the Marlins cashed their first run of the night. The error by Granderson looking huge. So Montero finally gives up a run, and now he'll contend with Marcell Ozuna with 1 out and 1 on. Still only 79 pitches for Montero. So he'll try and make his way through this 6th. Then he's due a turn at bat in the top of the 7th, so this will probably be his last inning.
Got to watch out for Stanton. He can steal a base.
2 so far this year for Stanton. Buddy Carlisle's going to get up in the Mets bullpen. Ozuna 0 for 2 tonight.
Sorry, Gary. Is that an earned run? Because he would have been bunted over.
Depends what happens from here. But it's going to be, it would be the official scorer's discretion. If you say Gordon would have scored from second on that hit, then it's an earned run.
It's an earned run then.
But I bet they wouldn't have bunted. If you recreate the inning from an earned run perspective, it is. But I don't think Prado's bunting.
It's a
and
good
who
point.
knows? Maybe you get a double play if Gordon's at first base.
Well, let's see how Montero recovers from that. Now he's given up the run. He's very poised here for a 24-year-old.
Last time up, Ozuna hit one hard to Campbell's backhand, and Campbell made a nice play and threw him out. And now Montero behind 2-0. He hasn't been pitching from behind all night, but he did with Stanton, and now he's 2-0 to Ozuna. Michael Morse on deck. Keep in mind, Montero had not thrown more than 74 pitches in any game this year, and that was in his last start for Vegas. So he may be running out of gas a little bit. 2-0 slider, bounced slowly. Tough play for Campbell. He can put that in his pocket
wisely.
An infield hit for Ozuna.
Well, Campbell, who likes to play deep, and I think it's because of his thinks his range, he can cover more ground. So on these little bleeders right here, you haven't got a shot, and he wisely ate it.
So a huge batter now for Montero. 2 out and 2 on for Michael Morse. Morse has struck out and reached on Campbell's throwing error. Stanton now at second. Ozuna at first with 1 out. Marlins had just 1 hit through the first 5 innings, but they now have 3 hits and their first run here in the 6th. What Montero wants more than anything else is a ground ball from Morse to try and get a double play. But Morse hits one in the air to left, playable for Neuenhuis. Stanton tagging at second, but he's going to stay put, and that's the 2nd out. So now 2 out and 2 on. The rookie catcher JT Realmuto comes up. Realmuto has struck out and flied out 0 for 2. Realmuto has struck out and flied to center 0 for 2. And he fouls off the first pitch slider, 0-1. Marlins really like Realmuto. It's why they felt comfortable letting Saltalamacchia go.
So he's going to have his opportunity.
He was a two-sport star in high school. He was not only a shortstop in high school, but he was also a good quarterback.
Look at the fingernail on that pinky.
To his left, Tejada can't get to it. Base hit. Stanton around third comes in to score. Real Muto with an RBI single, and it's 2-0 Miami. Just beyond the reach of Tejada. The fourth into the inning. And the Marlins have 2 runs home.
Well, the grass very short here. What do they give you, that 3/4 of an inch? And that's like almost like a putting green.
Well, that's going to be all for Montero. Pitched so well tonight. Worked out of a couple of jams in the 4th and 5th. Not all of his own doing. And he is out after 5 2/3. Buddy Carlisle coming in. We'll be right back.
Say 85 pitches. Carlisle again coming in to kind of bail him out. Carlisle has been spectacular.
It's been a while since Buddy's been to the mound. 5 days since his last outing against the Braves. He'll come in to face Ichiro Suzuki with 1st and 3rd and 2 out. 2 runs home for Miami here in the 6th to break up a scoreless game. Ichiro was up twice, grounded out both times against Montero. Well, it's going to be interesting to see what the Mets decide to do now with Montero. Do they ship him right back to Vegas? Do they keep him around to pitch in the bullpen? He certainly acquitted himself well tonight. When they brought up Montero, the Mets went short on their bench again. They sent Danny Muno down, so they've got a 4-man bench. David Wright's probably not due for another, I'd say, at least 4 or 5 days at a minimum. So you could, hold on to what you have now until he's ready, or you can bring somebody else up in the interim.
15 and 5, you can play it safe.
What would playing it safe mean?
Making sure David is good to go.
Yeah, but the question is, would you send Montero down and bring back another position player just to fortify your bench now?
I would send down Montero. I would send him down. He needs to pitch, and he's going to come back. He's got a role here.
That one gets behind Recker. Here comes Ozuna, and he scores.
A wild pitch by Carlisle brings home the 3rd run of the inning.
What a nice play by Recker on the feed. It deked Ozuna. He slowed down. Watch this behind the back kind of feed here. That's nice. And Ozuna, if he lottie-dotted, he'd have been out.
Carlisle a little late getting there too. In any event, it brings home the 3rd run of the inning. Real Muto now at 2nd, a 3-1 count to Ichiro with Echeverria on deck. So this inning kind of falling apart on the Mets. Ichiro lifts one to left, and Neuenhuis is there waiting for it. And that retires the side. But the Marlins put together a 3-run 6th inning to break open a scoreless game. Pete Gordon, the hottest thing going right now, got it started. Stanton drove in the 1st run, and Miami winds up with 3. People's United Bank brings you tonight's starting pitchers. Rafael Montero held the Marlins scoreless for 5, but not in the 6th. David Phelps with 6 scoreless innings on his ledger, and he starts the 7th with a strike to Kirk Neuenhuis. Neuenhuis is fly to right, fly to center, 0 for 2. Neuenhuis, Recker in the pitcher's spot for the Mets in the 7th. Ansel Robles up in the Mets bullpen. Made a terrific debut the other day.
Well, this Marlins starting pitching has really turned it around. And Phelps here just really doing a good job mixing up his pitches. Basically,
Mike Dunn, the left-hander, A.J. Ramos, the right-hander, up in the Marlins pen.
He's a sinker, slider, change-up pitcher. He's been spotting well.
Neuenhuis drills one into right for a base hit. The first time all night the Mets have had the leadoff man on. Neuenhuis, just his 2nd hit of the season.
Well, it's important, always important for a pitcher when his team gets him runs to run a goose egg up there the next inning.
Chuck Hernandez, the pitching coach, is going to take a trip to the mound now to take Phelps' temperature. He's at 88 pitches for the night. And that gives us time to investigate our SNY tweet of the game. Our question was, what do you think about the occasional 6-man rotation, which is what the Mets did tonight by giving Montero a spot start. If he can throw well, I'm all for it. The important thing is taking care of Matt Harvey.
And evidently that's overwhelming.
Bart's age, limits on young pitchers, just what the doctor ordered. So the consensus seems to be the fans are good with it. And this one makes a good point as well. Next time it might not be Montero. Could be Steven Matz. Could be Noah Syndergaard, who pitched a 2-hit shutout for Vegas last night. So yeah, the fans seem to be on board with the idea. Recker is 0 for 2. Popped up, lined out to left, and he takes a rip at a cutter. 0-1. John Mayberry out on deck to pinch hit. The Mets have an all right-handed bench tonight with Neuenhuis in the starting lineup. So Mayberry is out to pinch hit. And Recker watches outside. 1-1. I mean, when you think about it, if the Mets do this 5 different times with the extra starter to push everybody back a day, that's the equivalent of everybody missing 1 start for the season.
Double play ball, but it's booted by Prado, and everybody's safe. Should have been an easy 5-4-3 double play, but the normally sure-handed Prado boots it, and the Mets have themselves a chance in the 7th.
Boy, can the Mets bounce back from this, take advantage of the air here, and get back in this ball game.
And with 2 men on, Terry Collins changes his mind and pulls back Mayberry. He's going to send up Wilmer Flores instead. That ball came up and hit Prado in the knee. So the Marlins' second error of the night. Did they just call that a base hit?
No.
Are you kidding me?
I already marked it an error and in pen.
Oh, come on. That's crazy. Well, that's going to be all for Phelps. So Recker gets his first hit of the year, an absolute gift from the official scorer. In any event, the Mets have 2 men on, and the Marlins are going to the bullpen. A.J. Ramos will come in to face Wilmer Flores. Phelps leaves with a shutout intact. Mets trying to rally in the 7th. We'll be right back. Plus all the latest Rangers news as they get ready to start their series against the Capitals on Loudmouths tomorrow at 5:30 only on SNY. A.J. Ramos in to pitch to the pinch hitter Wilmer Flores with 2 aboard.
Ooh.
And he throws that first pitch breaking ball to get ahead.
One of the hardest throwers in the National League, Ramos. And those numbers you're seeing up there are correct. 3 for 20 left-handers, 2 for 20 right-handers.
Flores getting the night off tonight. 1 for 4 last night. Neuenhuis at second, Recker at first, and nobody out. And quickly, Ramos ahead 0-2. So Phelps went 6 innings plus, allowed 7 hits, no walks, 4 strikeouts, and thus far no runs. And Ramos trying to keep it that way. Faced the Mets twice in New York in that 4-game series. And Flores pokes one, caught by Gordon, and everybody gets back. Gordon just with enough ups to pick off that soft line drive for the first out.
Wow. That was an RBI single. And the Mets in business. What a nice play. Good base running, both base runners. This could have been a double up. Well done.
Gordon showing off his athleticism, needed the entire length of that little second baseman's glove. So that's the first out of the inning. Now Granderson 1 for 3 on the day, a double back in the third. And Ramos picks off the inside corner, 0-1. Granderson, the tying run at the plate. Hit his first home run of the year Sunday night in the Bronx. And he loops this one into shallow right. That's going to fall for a base hit. NYN AT MIA had to hold up. He'll stop at third. And now the Mets have the bases loaded. Second hit of the day for Granderson.
Off the end of the bat. Everybody, you're down 3 runs. Safety first. Hold, make sure. Yes, because you just don't want to get doubled up. 3 runs down. Good base running.
So now the tying runs are on base. NYN AT MIA at third, Recker at second, Granderson at first, and Juan Lagares, who's been stymied so far tonight after going 8 for 12 over the last 3 games. Lagares 0 for 3 with 3 ground balls. Juan is 1 for 6 in his career against A.J. Ramos. Good speed at third with NYN AT MIA, not so much with Recker. Granderson at first. And Lagares drives one deep center field. Back goes Ozuna near the wall. It's one hop against the green fence, and 3 runs are going to score. A game-tying 3-run double for Juan Lagares. Lagares unloads.
Gets the barrel out here on a hard thrower, inner half. This is a home run in most ballparks. Short hops to 418, and everybody knows that's the only one you got to be concerned about is the back runner, and Granderson read it perfectly and scores easily. How about these Mets?
Lagares had been held in check by the starter Phelps, but he has been swinging a hot bat, and he hits one 410 feet to tie up the game. Ramos exit. They'll bring in the left-hander to face Duda. 3-3 in the 7th. We'll be right back.
Season with the Marlins, originally started with the Yanks, had a really good year last year, off to a tough start this year. Mets have always given him a hard time. Lefties hitting .364 against him in this young season. Lucas Duda, no stranger to him, 6 for 16 against Dunn.
Go ahead run at second with 1 out. Duda's 1 for 3 tonight, and he goes after the first pitch slider, 0-1. Well, Ramos came in, got a terrific defensive play made behind him by Gordon, but then a base hit for Granderson and a 3-run double off the bat of Lagares to tie the game. 2 runs charged with Phelps, the 3rd run to Ramos. And Duda goes after another slider, and it's 0-2. And Phelps charged with 2 earned runs because they gave Recker credit for a hit on that ball that Prado booted. If I'm Phelps, I think I might want to get that one reviewed.
You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to have someone else do it for you.
They do that now. They've got a committee that looks at those plays if requested. 0-2 coming to Duda, and he pulls one to the right side, comes up for Gordon, and that's the 2nd out as Lagares goes over to 3rd.
Well, there's the shift, took away a base hit.
So now a 2-out hit by Campbell could get the Mets the lead.
And I tell you what, you go after Campbell. I don't want any part of Murph. Murph so far this year, 1 for 13 against left-handers. I don't care about that. I wouldn't want to pitch to him in this situation.
Campbell's 1 for 3, drilled a base hit to right center his last time up. Mets were held in check by Phelps for the first 6, but much as was the case with Montero, 1 inning proving the undoing. Marlins got 3 in the bottom of the 6th, knocked Montero out of the game. Phelps exits here in the 7th, and the Mets come right back. Taking advantage of opponents' mistakes is something the Mets have done a lot this year. Prado boots that double play grounder, and all of a sudden it opens the floodgates.
Also excellent base running, Gare, on that soft line drive that Gordon snared. That could have been a double play with poor base running.
One and 1 to Campbell. And backdoor slider for a strike, 1-2.
Wow, what a bad throw back to the pitcher with a runner on 3rd base. Backdoor slide ball.
Lagares at 3rd with 2 down. 1-2 from Dunn. And Campbell fouls back the fastball. Campbell's had 4 at-bats against Dunn. He's 2 for 4 against him. Seems like the Mets have always done pretty well against Mike Dunn.
Well, he's certainly has been their main left-hander. He's just had an up-and-down career. Tends to be wild. He's never become precise with his pitches. Power pitcher.
And Campbell goes down swinging on the high hard one. So Dunn comes in and gets the job done, but the Mets get even. Bases loaded, and Lagares unloads a 410-foot double, drives in 3, and the Mets draw even. 7th inning stretch in Miami. Today's State Farm agent of the game is Brian Levitt of Park Slope. Contact Brian at WeInsureNewYork.com. By Heineken, open your world. And by Optimum, presenting Mets games in crystal clear HD. Alex Torres comes on in relief for New York as we go to the bottom of the 7th.
The last lefty acquired in front of the late spring training from the Padres. Pitched Sunday night against the Yankees. Should be fresh.
Worked a 1-2-3 inning in that 8th inning Sunday. Danny Echeverria leads off and takes a fastball for a strike. The other Torres, Carlos, up in the Mets bullpen. And Brian Morris up in the Marlins pen. Echeverria at the plate. Jeff Baker on deck to pinch hit with the pitcher's spot due up next. And Echeverria takes it low. The Mets got Alex Torres and they dealt young Corey Mazzoni to San Diego. The Padres just called up Mazzoni and he made his big league debut last night against the Astros, and he gave up a 2-run homer to Colby Rasmus. But nice to see Mazzoni getting to the big leagues for the first time. Good off-speed pitch. That's his stock and trade, that changeup.
He's been one of these left-handers that's more effective against the righty. Why? Because of that pitch right there. Little turnover, almost like a screwball.
Like a John Franco changeup. 1-2 to Echeverria, who was intentionally walked his last time up. And he comes up and in and gets him. Torres with the fastball strikes out Echeverria, 1 away.
Ties him up and in. Chased. Completely tied him up.
Now Jeff Baker, the veteran pinch hitter, looking for his first hit of the season. Batting for Dunn, who did a nice job coming in for an ineffective A.J. Ramos. And Baker late on that fastball, 0-1.
Alex Torres throws a little harder than you think. He's a little sneaky. It's a cagey little left-hander. And a lot has fallen on his lap, on his shoulders, with Blevins going down, Garrett.
Well, first edging, which led to the Mets picking up both Blevins and Torres, and then Blevins has his arm broken by a line drive. So it's on Torres and Gilmartin to hold the fort from the left side. Here's that good changeup again, and he's ahead on Baker, 1-2.
Throwing strikes. That's been his problem. He's been kind of a guy that walks too many, but here he's spot on. But he's the guy that they're going to go to. Gilmartin's not going to be the guy that they're going to go to late in a ball game, in a close game.
Left-hand hitter D. Gordon on deck. Torres ahead on Baker, 1-2. A little bit low with the fastball, 2-2. Baker has done a lot of pinch hitting in his career. He's had 226 career pinch hit at bats. 48 hits. 212 as a pinch hitter, 266 lifetime hitter. Strike 3 call, got him looking at a fastball. Alex Torres with back-to-back strikeouts to start the bottom of the 7th.
He's one of those guys that can give right-handers fits. You get worried about that screwball change, and boom, he sneaks a fastball by you.
So now the red-hot D. Gordon, already 2 hits today. A double to left center, a single to right. Scored the first run of the game in the 6th inning. There you see the hit leaders in the National League, and Gordon with a substantial lead. Brought to you by DraftKings. And Gordon foul tips one, 0-1.
Oh, this Met ball club has shown an awful lot of resilience.
Well, they've already had 8 come from behind wins today, this year, and they're going for number 9 today. Gordon tries to drop down a bunt. You like that play with 2 out, nobody on?
I don't mind it because you've got a guy that can steal a base. You know, he can get on and steal. If he does that and he gets on, he's got to try to steal a base, get in scoring position. But he's the second time he's tried to bunt, correct?
Well, he's going to do that a lot.
Yeah, he's failed twice tonight.
Now Torres ahead 0-2.
Foul tip held by Recker, strike 3, and Alex Torres strikes out the side in the bottom of the 7th. Beautifully done by Torres. We head to the 8th. Mets and Marlins tied at 3.
Battery in Major League history tonight. Brian Morris comes in to pitch the 8th inning for the Marlins.
Well, he was picked up in June from the Pirates. Had a terrific second half for the Marlins last year. He's a hard thrower.
Comes in to face Daniel Murphy, who's 2 for 3 tonight, 5 for 10 over the last 3 games. Had the big hit last night with a 3-run homer, and he bats in a tie game leading off the 8th. Morris was part of that incredibly successful Pirate bullpen of a few years ago with Jason Grilli and Mark Melanson and Justin Wilson. It's all been broken up now.
And Murphy has his 3rd hit of the night. See if he can get 2 bases out of this. So Zuna picking it up. Here comes his throw to second base. Cut off. And Murphy with a leadoff double.
Well, as I've said, Murph should own left center field. Look at that, going right with the pitch, a little closer to the plate, more barrel of the bat to cover the outside corner. And he smells 2 right here.
His 4th extra base hit in the last 3 games. So Murphy at second, nobody out. Now do you bunt with Tejada?
Yes, I would.
Marlins are looking for it. Corners in.
Why? Because Ruben hasn't been playing very much and he hasn't really been hitting. Get the runner to third. Got to.
0 for 3 tonight. And he bunts it foul, trying to push it down to third, make the third baseman handle the ball. Kirk Neuenhuis, the on-deck batter. Let's remember, are short on the bench now, and it's an all right-handed bench.
Well, they've got 3 left now.
Got Mayberry, Kadire, and Plawecki in the dugout. Used Flores in the last inning. See if the bunt's still on. And it is. And Tejada bunts it hard. Morris does a play at third. And Murphy is tagged out. Not a good bunt by Tejada. And they get the lead runner.
Well, right back to the pitcher. And this is the perfect view for you to see right here. Too hard and right to the pitcher. No hesitation. So they fail to execute.
Murphy is claiming that he got in before the tag, and he's hanging around to wait and see if Terry Collins will challenge, but the Mets are not going to.
Came off the bag for the front foot, too.
So 1 out. Tejada now at first.
Take a closer look here. He did beat the no, he slid past the bag.
Yep. Yeah, Prado missed the initial tag, but Murph didn't get to the bag. So the Mets choose not to challenge. Here's Neuenhuis, and he fouls one at the plate. Kirk got the 3-run rally started for the Mets in the 7th with a hard hit single to right. Just his second hit in 18 at bats this year.
The Mets have been doing everything right. That's one of the few times they haven't executed on a fundamental play.
Anthony Recker waiting on deck. Tejada at first and 1 out. And a check swing, and he went around. 0-2. Tomorrow night, final game of this series. Bartolo Colon on the mound for the Mets against Matt Latos. Our coverage begins at 6 o'clock tomorrow night, right here on SNY.
Too bad it's not a day game.
Get us started. Morris ahead on Neuenhuis 0-2. And Kirk lays off that one. Real Muto blocks it nicely.
Real Muto's shown some agility back behind the plate here in this series. Newcomer right here. Look at that. Beautifully done.
One-two coming. And Neuenhuis down on strikes. 96 from Brian Morris for the second out.
Boy, down and in too, where he likes it. Right into his happy area.
So 2 out, and it's left to Anthony Recker, who picked up his first quote-unquote base hit of the season his last time up.
He'll take it.
A grounder to third that came up on Prado, and somehow the scorer judged it a base hit.
It didn't come up. He just missed it. It was a double play.
Hit him in the knee. Tejada at first and 2 out. Recker has a knack for the late inning close game home run. Takes outside for ball 1.
Ron Copa's called a very, very good game behind home plate. He has been consistent, calling low strikes, but he's been consistent. He's been good on the corners. Excellent game.
And Morris behind on Recker 2-0. Michael Kadire has come out on deck. Kadire will pinch hit if Recker can keep the inning going. These spots, though, these are Recker's spots.
Well, the Mets have been coming through in these spots as a team, and Prado guarding the line, playing deep at third base.
Tejada at first and 2 out. And now Morris behind 3-0. Walk would push the go-ahead run to second and bring Kadire up.
Gosh, do you give Recker a hit sign? He's got pop.
Boy, that'd be tough.
I hear you. Everything's going your way, right? Everything you roll the dice, it comes up 7 or 11.
I'd really be surprised. Let's see. And that's a strike. A borderline one, 3-1.
Bell tie.
3-1 to Recker. And that's inside, ball 4. And that pushes the go-ahead run to second and brings up Kadire as a pinch hitter.
That is a no-no.
So now Kadire, who was getting the day off, he went 0 for 4 last night. He's just 2 for his last 27. In his career as a pinch hitter, get this, 16 for 43s, 372 as a pinch hitter in his career.
He's a hitter.
With 2 career pinch hit home runs. So he hasn't done it much, but he's had a lot of success when he has. Tejada at second, Recker at first with 2 down. Mets looking for the lead run here in the 8th. And Kadire takes a slider up and in for ball 1.
Thou shall not take when pinch hitting. Now you're 1-0. 0 in on a fastball.
And he takes that fastball low and in.
Even better, Garrett. 2-0.
Anderson on deck. Mets were down 3-0 in this game before Lagares' 3-run double tied it in the 7th. Now Kadire trying to get them the lead. 2-0 for Morris. Goes after the fastball away. 2-1.
Good strike, knee high outside corner. Remember, pitchers always feel comfortable when they're behind the count in a jam going away.
And Kadire hits it right at the shortstop. Echeverria gets the force to end the inning. That's going to lead off double, but can't score. Keeps it a 3-3 game going to the bottom of the 8th.
Mets, then Gary Cohen and Howie Rose. SNY looking for 2 fans to compete against the best. Think you have what it takes to outsmart Gary and Howie? I don't think so. The brains of the booth, and you can win $5,000. Then come to Citi Field for SNY's open audition for Beat the Booth Saturday, May 16th, starting at 9 a.m.
I don't know why you abandoned the Howard Cosell.
Well,
you were doing so well with that.
It was going to crumble.
Carlos Torres pitching the bottom of the 8th. Martin Prado leads off and takes it high. Carlos last night threw one pitch. It was a big one. With a couple of men on after the Marlins scored in the 8th, he got Stanton to pop up, which kept it a one-run game going to the 9th, and he wound up being the winning pitcher. Now he falls behind Prado 2-0. Alex Torres was spectacular. Struck out the side of the 7th. Now Carlos gets Prado, Stanton, and Ozuna in the 8th.
Oh, they'll have a rematch, he and Stanton, from last night.
There's a strike, 2-1. Rafael Montero started, went 5 2/3, allowed 3 runs and 5 hits, but really pitched better than that. Buddy Carlisle got his man, retiring Ichiro in the 6th, and then Alex Torres with the 1-2-3-7. Now Carlos Torres behind on Prado, 3-1. Prado had a sacrifice his last time up, leading to the first Miami run. Otherwise 0 for 2. And Torres walks him, leading off in the bottom of the 8th.
Carlos has had a couple outings where he's had lapses with his control,
which we're not accustomed to seeing.
Right.
So now he's got to go after Stanton. He's hit the ball hard his last 2 times up, lined out to third in the 4th inning, and then had the base hit through the hole in the left to drive in the first run of the game in the 6th.
No, they're not thinking a bunt here, are they? Campbell, he's
No.
playing that in the next county.
I think if he bunts, you have a real headline.
and guarding the line, something the Mets don't normally do. And Torres having trouble throwing strikes.
Then again, they've been guarding the line at third against Stanton all night, and that had Campbell in perfect position to field his line drive back in the 4th. Carlos Torres has done well against Stanton, who is the all-time Marlins home run leader. Passed Dan Uggla with the first one he hit this year at Citi Field.
That was power to power. Upstairs fastball, and you don't want to do that.
He's a little scary when he swings the bat. 18 home runs against the Mets, more than anybody else since he made his debut. Prado the go-ahead run at first with nobody out. And the cutter off the plate, 2-1. Stanton 3 for 13 in his career against Carlos Torres. Marcell Ozuna waits on deck. Mets have out-hit the Marlins 10-5. And now Torres again falls behind 3-1.
He's really coming underneath that, dropping that elbow, Gare, on the slider. And therefore, it's just a helicopter coming in, and it's not breaking. He's got to get on top.
He's in a very dangerous spot right here, behind 3-1 on Stanton.
Good one.
And Recker tracks it down. Prado, I don't think, saw that ball get behind Recker and never made a move.
Boy, he's got to be on second base. Good slider. Wow, I think did he think it was a foul tip?
I don't know what he thought, but Prado never moved, and then he was upset with himself when he realized what had happened.
Prado has not had a good game tonight.
So now it's 3-2 to Stanton. Nobody out. Not going. Popped it up. Campbell into foul ground. And that's a huge out for Carlos Torres, coming back from 3-1 to get Stanton to pop up for the second straight night.
Another backup slider. We'll do a pitch sequence. First pitch. Slider backing up and in, ball 1. Oh boy, there's a fastball in. Just beat. Slider down and away, 2-1. Another bad slider off the plate, 3-1. Good slider, 3-2. Hanger got away with it.
So a big bullet dodge by Carlos Torres. 1 out and 1 on. And now Marcell Ozuna who topped one to third for an infield hit and scored a run his last time up in the 6th. 1 for 3. And he takes it down, the curveball for ball 1. Milwaukee Brewers lost again tonight, beaten by Johnny Cueto and the Reds 4-2. Milwaukee's now 4-17.
It's going to get a manager fired.
Steve Cishek up in the Marlins bullpen. Cutter misses away, and now it's 2-0 to Ozuna.
Boy, Carlos is really playing with fire. Not intentionally.
He's been behind on all 3 hitters in this inning. He walked Prado, fell behind 3-1 to Stanton. Now he's 2-0 to Ozuna. And 3-0. Michael Morris is the on-deck batter.
Bob Guerin, the bench coach,
controlling the running game. I'll be calling pitches too. 3-0 to Ozuna. And he walked him. Second walk of the inning for Carlos. So his control really eluding him tonight. And he's going to have to try and battle through it to face Mike Morris. First, Dan Worthen will pay a visit to the mound.
Well, what's left of the bullpen for the Mets is their back end of their, their front end of their bullpen. And that's Gil Martin, Goodell, and Robles. Not a whole lot of experience. So I believe that Terry, he's going to stick with the veteran. He's going to win or lose with Carlos here.
Torres has to figure out how to make the adjustments now.
Well,
he's been hooking that cutter out of the strike zone.
So one thing that used to drive Whitey Herzog crazy was relief pitchers that didn't throw strikes. Whitey always had no patience with that. Whitey would get relievers that would come in and throw strikes.
Hansel Robles, who's made one big league appearance, and it was a very impressive one at Yankee Stadium, getting himself ready. Morris has had 4 career at-bats against Torres, 2 for 4 with a home run. By the way, remember when the Braves had a 9-1 lead on the Nats tonight?
What is it now?
It's now 11-10 Atlanta in the 7th. Can you imagine?
Wow.
It's
never over till it's over.
Denard Span hit a home run. We'll show you how crazy that game is. So here's Morris, who's 0 for 3 tonight. Struck out, reached on there, flied out. And Morris hits one up the middle. That's a base hit. Prado to third, being waved in. Here comes Lagares' throw to the plate on a hop, not in time. And the Marlins go back in front.
Ran through a stop sign.
Michael Morris drives in the go-ahead run, and the Marlins go ahead 4-3.
Well, that's what I'm talking about is hitting. You young hitters, you got a pitcher in trouble. The runner's in scoring position, a bit wild, walk 2 guys. Don't let him get that first pitch fastball by you. And Prado went right through the sign.
Brett Feltner, the third base coach for the Marlins, trying to stop him. But he wasn't to be stopped.
Man, he beat the throw.
I have to say also, Lagares, had trouble with his elbow last year. He is not throwing the ball as well this year as he did last year.
Accurately and hitting cutoff.
But it's not as strong.
Not the zip.
Right. And, we didn't know because he really didn't cut loose during spring training, but that's certainly something that bears watching. So here's Real Muto, who had a base hit to drive and a run his last time up. And he takes a cutter for a strike.
Well, look at your left-hand part of the screen, the third base coach, Brett Butler. That's a hold sign, is it not, folks? Raise your hands if you're sure.
Well, ignored but happy. Torres ahead on Real Muto 0-2. So Cishek getting ready in the Marlins bullpen after blowing the save last night. Menzel at the top of the order coming up in the 9th inning tonight. Granderson, Lagares, and Duda. Cishek's had only 1 save this year in 3 chances. First, Carlos Torres has to try and get through this bottom of the 8th with just the 1 run. 0-2 to Real Muto, and he fouls it back again. Coming up tonight after the postgame show, it's Geico Sports Night. Chris Carlin looking back on Engelbert Humperdinck at the Coliseum.
Engelbert's going to have put on a show?
Well, he did in 1979.
Okay, I wasn't paying attention to Chris. Sorry, Chris.
After the loving.
Line to the center. Here comes Lagares to pick it off. That's where playing shallow pays off for Lagares. And Real Muto retired for the second out.
Boy, they're hitting some shots off of Carlos here.
So now 2 out and 2 on, and Torres with a chance to limit the damage as he takes on Ichiro. 2 walks and a run scoring hit by Michael Morris, producing a run. And that pitching staff came into the day having walked fewer batters than any staff in the National League, but the 2 walks by Torres really hurting here in the 8th. Montero had just an intentional walk in his 5 2/3 tonight, and that had been the only walk issued by the Mets before this inning. Ichiro 0 for 3 tonight, 0 for 6 in the series, and he takes a strike.
He's really throwing a flat breaking ball, Gary. He's not getting on top. He's getting himself in trouble.
Ichiro pounds one foul, and it's 0-2. Torres, who led the major leagues in relief innings last year, 92 innings of relief, 5 more in 1 spot start. That's a ton of innings for a relief pitcher, and you wonder sometimes about the effect that has the following year.
Well, Torres is not a physically big guy. I think he wants to throw. He's got a rubber arm, but you've got to keep him fresh. You can't overwork him.
He had had a few days off before last night. Here's the 0-2. Slap to Murphy at second. Hurries in to get it. Side retired. So the Marlins get the go-ahead run. Michael Morris drives it home. See if the Mets can come from behind in the 9th again. Day for Daniel Murphy with 3 hits, but Lagares, the biggest, hit a 3-run double that tied the game in the 7th. Mets wasted a leadoff double in the 8th, and we'll see what they can do tonight against Steve Cishek, who gave it up to the Mets last night. He's at 12 saves in his major league career. A third of them have come against the Mets, including the one last night.
Well, there's his numbers that were doubly ugly now because of the 3 runs he gave up last night. The 3-run bomb to Murph, and the Mets have top of the order, and this is a chance for a redeemer.
Mets have already had 8 come from behind victories among their 15 wins this year, looking for another one tonight. Granderson 2 for 4, a single and a double, and he takes a slider from Cishek for a strike.
Prado on third base, kind of on the fringe of the grass, respecting a potential bunt, and notice Ozuna playing a lot deeper.
Well, of course, Lagares fooled Ozuna with his drive to right center last night that fell for a double that started the rally, and Lagares waits on deck. 2-1 to Granderson. Well, Cishek on the mound. He usually has the 9th to himself, but they're going to keep the lefty Brad Hand ready, perhaps with an eye toward Lucas Duda, who's 2 batters away. 3-1 now to Granderson, who's done a great job this year of working counts and drawing walks, and has Cishek shaking his head.
Well, he has trouble with the lefties, and he's got himself behind an 8 ball here.
3-1 coming. And Granderson takes the walk to lead off the inning. Unbelievable. He has been so good at that this year. 16th walk he's drawn, and the Mets get the tying run aboard.
Gosh, as a manager, do you lose confidence with your closer?
Well, he hurt himself with a walk last night when he walked Duda to help set the stage for Murphy's home run.
Guarding the line, Prado, and in.
They're looking for the bunt from Lagares. I don't think he's bunting.
Lagares is red hot. Let him swing.
I can't believe Terry would have him bunt in this spot.
If anything, if you get a count, let him, hit and run. A 2-1 count, or you can wait to 3 and run if you can get there.
They hit and run with this combination at Citi Field. It helped them win a game. You could go that way. Lagares, though, swings and pops one up. Gordon calling all the way. And that's the first out.
Right there, great swing on it, Lagares, and he just got on it right down the middle. This had all the, look at the plate, beautiful cut. He just got under it, and look at his, he knows it. Those are the ones you want back.
So now it's Duda, who is 4 for 9 in his career against Cishek and drew a walk against him last night. Granderson the tying run at first with 1 out. Duda 1 for 4 tonight.
Big shift. That's what he needs to do. He likes that backdoor slider, and there goes Prado now with the big shift and really exposing the left side of the infield. Now with a sinker ball pitcher, Gary, I'm a little less inclined to do this. Another backdoor slider.
So Cishek with a couple of breaking balls gets ahead on Duda 0-2.
Perfect. I just would move Echeverria over a little bit at shortstop. Get him over it a little bit more. So towards the third base line.
0-2, and Duda fights one off. Cishek also is not throwing as hard as he had in the past. His fastball velocity this year is down almost 2 miles an hour. And that's a pitch he used to run up there 92, 93. That was 89. Oh, and 2 to Lucas. And he fouls off that fastball.
Mets have been very good with 2 strikes. Pretty much up and down the lineup. They've been fighting.
Second fewest strikeouts of any team in the National League. They've struck out 6 times tonight. Granderson the tying run at first and 1 out. Cishek ahead 0-2. And Duda fouls back another one.
See, he just afraid to come inside. See, Lucas is up there just bearing down. He just hard for Cishek to come inside because his ball's going to run out over the plate if he doesn't get it in enough.
Jerry's Familia looking on. And Duda tries to stop it and held it in time.
Yes, he did. A good call.
With the call. It's 1-2. Two and two. Cishek's really fighting himself.
I just don't see the confidence, brimming from him. I see someone fighting himself.
This will be the 8th pitch of the at bat from Cishek to Duda. Struck him out with a slider. A huge strikeout for Steve Cishek for the second out.
Well, not a strike, but a tough pitch to lay off. And they wanted it away, folks. And he got it on the inside corner. He wanted the back door.
So now the Mets are down to their final out. Eric Campbell coming up. When you think about asking Granderson to steal the base?
No, but he gets thrown out, the game's over. It's a big ballpark, Gary. Line drive hitter, ball down the left field line. Look at the outfield defense. He hits one down the left field line with Granderson's speed or anywhere up the gap. Granderson's going to score.
Campbell 1 for 4 tonight, singled back in the 6th. And he grounds one down to Prado. Gets the force play, and the ball game is over. So Cishek able to hang on to the lead this time after a leadoff walk. And the Marlins even up the series. Michael Morse with the go-ahead hit in the bottom of the 8th. And Miami wins it 4-3.
Well, you can't win them all, and this is a tough loss. But you know what? They were down 3-0. They came back, the Mets, and got 3 in the top half of the next inning. Carlos Torres, just with the 2 walks, set up the base hit by that man right there. Mike Morris, first pitch fastball hitting. He sensed that Carlos Torres was having trouble with command, particularly with his breaking ball, jumped after the first pitch fastball.
So Brian Morris got around a leadoff double to set the Mets down in the 8th. He winds up with the win. Lagares had tied it with a 3-run double, but the Marlins get the run in the 8th, and this time it stands up for a 4-3 win. We'll come back with more from Miami in just a moment.